Under the blazing sun of ancient Egypt, the daughter of Pharaoh, a biblical woman of regal bearing, stepped from the opulent palace where power and splendor reigned. Her heart, though royal, yearned for something deeper than gilded halls. By the Nile's edge, a faint cry rose from a drifting basket, defying fate. The child within, Moses, was a victim of her father Pharaoh's cruel decree. In that pivotal moment, she faced a choice: turn away or dare to save a Hebrew life, defying the lurking dangers. Courage and a fragile faith guided her, like divine light shimmering on the river. This untold story unveils sacred grace and justice, where a princess crossed ethnic divides to shape history. Join us to explore a journey of redemption and let compassion touch your heart. Have you ever wondered why an unnamed woman, veiled among ancient Egypt's elite, quietly turned history's wheel with a single act of compassion? Let your imagination drift with me along the sun-drenched Nile, where waters mirror the desert's gold, pausing at marble steps rising to Pharaoh's palace, a jewel defiant in the sea of sand. In that radiant glow, the daughter of Pharaoh emerges, her name unetched on stone, her statue uncast, yet her heart craving something beyond all splendor. From girlhood, she learned to glide through gold-clad halls, hiding emotions behind a gossamer veil. Her father, the mighty Pharaoh, was the sole voice echoing through the court, his decrees cut like sunlight, searing sand, none sharper than the edict to slay Hebrew infant boys. In Goshen's mud huts, mothers' stifled sobs haunted the nights, clutching sons from patrolling guards. Hope and despair entwined, like reed roots clinging to the river's edge. One fiery morning, the princess shed her heavy crown, slipping to the Nile to bathe, a rare breath of freedom beyond stone walls. Dry winds carried resin scent, ibis calls pierced the air, and the river gleamed with silver scales of circling perch. Cool Nile waters kissed her bare feet, flamingos wheeled, and maids stood watch for crocodiles. Then a child's cry sliced the stillness, faint yet resounding to her soul's core. On the shimmering surface, a pitch-sealed basket rocked, cradling fragile life in fate's summons. She signaled. A maid deftly drew the basket ashore. Rough cloth parted, revealing a trembling newborn's flushed face. His black eyes clung to life's last warmth. The princess knew this was a persecuted Hebrew's child. To abandon him meant death. To save him thrust a spear of treason at the throne. Strange dreams flooded back, a lamp-lit infant reaching for rescue. Perhaps Jehovah whispered in the breeze. She touched the tiny life, whispering, "This child shall live." Not a command to attendance, but a vow to conscience. From the reeds, young Miriam, the babe's sister, emerged, trembling yet bold, offering to find a Hebrew wet nurse. The princess nodded. Jochebed, the boy's mother, entered the palace as nurse. Beneath eagle-carved vaults, a mother's milk nourished Moses, while the court reveled in power's haze. Time slipped like sand through fingers. Moses grew sharp-witted, mastering hieroglyphs in his people's tale. He rode chariots with princes, yet his heart stirred at the crack of slavers' whips. The princess watched, half proud, half fearful, seeing in his eyes a truth's flame that could shake proud pyramids. Rumors snaked through stone corridors. An ambitious vizier rifled the nurse's chest, finding a Hebrew wool scrap, milk-scented. That night, torches blazed like falling stars. Soldiers scoured the princess's chambers. Cloaked, she raced through cold halls, lips silently pleading for the almighty shield over her saved son. Before the towering throne, Pharaoh roared like a sandstorm. "You betray royal blood." Kneeling, she recounted the river moment, the cry that broke her heart, her hunger to protect life despite court law. Tears fell, voice steady. She begged for Moses' life, vowing his service to Egypt. Pharaoh sat silent, long. Torchlight flickered on his wavering face. As if an unseen hand choked his wrath, he waved. Guards withdrew, no death sentence fell. The princess collapsed, not from fear, but from miraculous grace flooding her heart. From that night, she knew victory came not by swords, but mercy. Moses matured, his heart forged between worlds, awaiting the burning bush's call. In the princess's soul, faith seeds sprouted, transcending boundaries. She saw herself as a bridge for divine justice to begin freeing a people. When her hair silvered, she still walked the river at purple dusk, loosing white lotus petals to drift, thanking the one who spared the child and kept her heart from cooling. Her name graced no stele, but in the memories of those once drowned in bondage, she was the breeze heralding freedom's reign. Today, as you, American viewers, hear this tale, look beyond titles. The daughter of Pharaoh's message endures. A small gesture can shift a nation's fate. You need no crown to change lives, only a heart stirred by the tears of the vulnerable. When choosing between selfish safety or daring love, recall the nameless princess who defied a slaughter's decree to cradle Moses. If this story moves you, share it, for somewhere a basket may rock, awaiting a hand to lift its lid. Let compassion guide your steps today, tomorrow, and always. The cry wove through the reeds, lingering on the Nile's surface like a wordless plea, piercing the heart of the royal-blooded woman. She stood motionless on the fine sand, eyes tracing the basket drifting gently amid sun-gilded waters, as river breezes stirred ripples across the glassy expanse. All sounds, bird song, rustling leaves, the faint clop of passing hooves, yielded to that faint yet vital cry. She knew this was no mere orphan's tragedy. It was a tableau of the crimes inflicted on countless Hebrew families, crimes bearing her father Pharaoh's hand on that wooden cradle. In a breathless stillness, the daughter of Pharaoh felt her chest thrum with pounding beats. Her heart sank, then surged with the woman's instinct. She could not turn away while that tiny soul fought desperately for life. Yet she knew too well, saving this child meant defying the king's brutal decree, placing her honor, power, and life on a treacherous, uncharted path. Her attendants stirred, their eyes flashing unease. Some whispered, urging her to turn back, to feign deafness for safety. Others clutched their chests, gazing at her, awaiting her command. For a moment, her mind flickered to last night's dream. She stood in ethereal light, cradling a child, its eyes radiant with trust, arms outstretched as if seizing heaven's miracle. Could this be God's whisper, a beacon through the dark night of injustice? A fierce inner storm roared. Duty as Egypt's princess clashed with compassion's call, a choice the court's wisest might deem madness. Safety or sacrifice? The warm sunset began to blush the sky, but her heart saw only the dim tunnel toward which that small basket drifted. She drew a deep breath, each heartbeat a hammer, and chose. Silence was an option, but not today. She stepped toward the water's edge, her silken gown brushing the sand. Each stride carried a question of fate. Could one nameless woman's act spark a revolution of mercy, a seed sprouting in tyranny's barren soil? A final whisper echoed within. If I turn away, this child dies. If I reach out, I tread an unnamed road. But if compassion grows, heaven and earth will tremble. Her eyes blazed with resolve. Fear retreated, yielding to a faith undefined but profound, fierce in its clarity. In that moment, the daughter of Pharaoh raised her hand, sealing the greatest choice of her life, to claim the basket from the waves. An attendant knelt swiftly, grasping its handle. She leaned forward, small waves lapping her wrists as the maid drew it shoreward. Her lips trembled as the basket glided, revealing an innocent life. A tiny boy, skin warm and dusky, gazed up with clear eyes, as if finding hope. His frail cry softened to a whimper, yet pulsed with extraordinary will. Silently, she brushed a stray lock from her brow, turning to lift him, feeling warmth radiate from his small frame. "So you are hope's last trace," she whispered, voice light as a breeze. The attendants stood frozen, their unease melting into awe, none daring to speak. She cradled the boy to her chest, a sensation both alien and sacred. An eternal instant passed, only her heartbeat and his breath entwining. This choice, a gamble risking her life, had rooted the moment she heard his crying. She knew protecting him meant concealing his true identity and forging ties to his kin. But all paled before the drive to save a soul. Compassion had vanquished fear. A formless faith surged, stronger than ever. In the Nile's grandest palace, a new wind stirred, of love, justice, and miracles only daring hearts could name. The daughter of Pharaoh walked through the radiant dusk, clutching the child, eyes fixed on an unknowable future. Within her, hope's flame flared, lighting a long journey ahead, one of courage, faith, and grace. Thus, a tale of royal maternal love merged with a persecuted people's fate, opening the first chapter of an untold legend. As night fell, only the princess's steady breaths and fervent heart remained, with a silent vow you will live, and the world will never forget that cry. With a resolute gesture, the daughter of Pharaoh raised her slender hand, signaling an attendant to draw the drifting basket to the white sand shore. The fragile wicker cradle revealed faint gaps, unveiling a curled infant boy, his large, glistening eyes like twin pearls sparking hope. His fearless gaze, burning with a fierce will to live, melted her heart in that sacred moment. No longer a symbol of the Hebrew enemy or a victim of cruel decree, he was a holy life demanding protection. She knelt gently, tracing a finger on his cheek, feeling the fragile warmth of a miracle unfolding. "I shall call you Moses," she whispered, sealing a vow to heaven and earth. Word of her bold choice spread through the palace, swift as an afternoon desert gust. Whispers echoed in marble halls where loyal soldiers once patrolled silently. Pharaoh's advisors gasped in doubt. Some feared answering to the king's wrath. Others debated the political fallout of a princess saving an enemy's child. Yet the daughter of Pharaoh remained strikingly composed. She knew protecting Moses required a meticulous plan, concealing his origins while preserving ties to his true kin. With a wise woman's finesse, she orchestrated Miriam, Moses' sister, to appear as a covert maid by the river. Each dawn, Miriam posed as a wood-gatherer, stealing glances at her brother, guiding him back to the palace under the princess's patient watch. She didn't fully entrust Miriam, instead discreetly consulting Hakim, Hebrew mothers secretly tracking her steps. Through fleeting exchanges behind riverbank shrubs, she ensured Moses' birth mother, Jochebed, could nurture him in his early years, before he fully absorbed the royal court's love. As dusk painted the palace pink, the princess stepped onto the terrace, where young Moses toddled amid flickering oil lamps. She watched him smile, cheeks flushed with the tray of a new world. Her eyes welled, questioning her choice. But when Moses chirped Pharaoh in his innocent voice, lips curling in a pure grin, she knew this budding royal motherhood was the root of a grand mission. Her compassion glowed like a candle in a storm of power. She didn't just shield a life, she sowed hope for a sacred justice awaiting bloom. Under the moon's faint glow, she sat on stone steps, sharing tales of courage and loyalty, not in words, but through tender gazes, instilling in him a belief. No matter one's roots, all deserved love and defense. Day by day, Moses grew in her protective embrace. He pitched tents with palace warriors, learned Egyptian scriptures, and bore his unclear lineage with pride. She watched through foliage as he stood by the Nile, eyes tracing starry skies, silently praying for something beyond political strife. She knew his fate tied not just to the grand palace, but to an oppressed people, to cries rising from millions' hearts. One misty dawn, as dew clung to tender grass, she knelt by his bedside. Placing her hand on his tiny palm, she spoke warmly. "Moses, remember you were born to be a guiding light. The Nile brought you here, but a compassionate heart will shape your future." He looked up, lips pursed, as if grasping the weight awaiting him. In the days that followed, she quietly forged false documents, naming Moses an adopted Egyptian prince, ensuring his safety from suspicion. She also secretly contacted Hebrew priests, urging them to teach him ancient rituals and tradition. This nurturing unfolded in silence, yet brimmed with power, the power of faith, courage, and boundless love. Amid the great hall's lavish feasts, she felt a quiet urge. She must prepare Moses to lead the Hebrews from slavery. The wondrous bond between royal and Hebrew blood kindled hope in her. She knew the palace's fleeting glory wasn't his end, but a launch pad for a soul forged strong. At the final sunset of the harvest season, she embraced him once more, whispering low, "You've changed your fate through compassion. Walk with courage, for the world awaits you." Moses met her with clear eyes, as if etching her words into his mind. Ready for the days ahead, when the path to liberation would begin. Thus, Moses' growth wove royal yeasons with a sacred justice, from a river-born basket to compassion's throne. The daughter of Pharaoh, with one daring choice, planted hope in oppression's arid soil, turning tragedy into enduring faith. In the glow of oil lamps, she stood silently, eyes on the distant horizon, where a promising future beckoned. Every small act today can shift a nation, and this story is its vivid proof. Time slipped, quietly through marble halls lit by flickering oil lamps. And Moses grew strong under the daughter of Pharaoh's care. From a fragile infant, he became a nimble youth, his warm, dusky face gentle, his eyes still sparkling with the faith of that first day she saved him from the waves. The vast Nile beyond the palace windows bore witness to his wondrous transformation. From a victim of a slaughter's decree to a son sheltered by royal maternal love. But no secret, however grand, stays hidden forever. One morning, a harsh knock echoed through the main hall's carpets. A trusted vizier, eyes sharp as a surgeon's blade, entered with a ledger. He'd found old scraps tucked deep in a drawer, noting Moses' arrival as an adopted prince. The news reached Pharaoh, the mighty king, igniting his wrath like a desert blaze. A summons to the temple hall came swiftly. The daughter of Pharaoh donned a silken cloak, striding past towering columns where ritual music once rang, now filled only with the heavy tread of a trembling, yet steadfast heart. Before the gold and jewel throne, Pharaoh sat regal, his gaze a force to silence all life. She paused at the stone steps, feeling the weight of an empire awaiting her defense. "You dared hide a Hebrew child in the royal heart?" Pharaoh's voice thundered, each word a looming peril. She bowed, but her shoulders held firm. Her heart felt 1,000 thorns, yet her eyes met her father's with startling calm. She knew mere clever words wouldn't suffice. She needed faith and compassion to kindle hope in his iron heart. Without a word, she knelt before the throne, hands clasped, her demeanor solemn. In the heavy silence, she prayed, not for herself, but for Moses' fragile life, for the mission to free the Hebrews waiting within him. All eyes in the court fixed on her, breathless, hearing the whisper of a tender, trusting heart. Even the temple's candle flame seemed to still, tracing her soft breasts. Then a miracle unfolded. Pharaoh, famed for unmatched might, sat statue still, his searing anger cooled, as if doused by a gentle stream. An unseen hand touched his heart, revealing that maternal love, compassion, and fierce faith could soar above any harsh decree. In that moment he nodded faintly, granting forgiveness, accepting Moses as royal kin. The daughter of Pharaoh rose, meeting her father's gaze, her hair glinting under lamplight. She spoke steadily. Moses, though Hebrew-born, would serve Egypt loyally, honoring the one who saved him. He could bridge nations, sowing peace and sacred justice. With unwavering voice, she stressed that love between souls was the truest foundation for a thriving empire. From Pharaoh's faint smile, a final word rang in weighty silence. "You chose a brave path. Let me trust that choice." Brief, yet brimming with authority and mercy. In that instant, she knew faith and compassion had triumphed, and her heart's wager was true. Quiet joy spread through the palace. Attendants exchanged stunned glances, then nodded in awe, whispering of the rare tale they'd witnessed. Moses, beside his foster mother, stood bewildered yet radiant, as if sensing the seismic shift. For the first time he heard his father's voice call warmly, "Moses, you've made me proud." As dusk draped the palace domes, the daughter of Pharaoh held Moses close. She whispered that life would now hold light. Though trials loomed, she believed love and faith could turn any prison into a rainbow of hope. Thus, the story's climax wasn't just her stand against Pharaoh's wrath, but a testament to compassion and unshakable faith power. She smiled, her expression rich with belief that today's courage didn't just save a child. It opened a door to a future where two peoples might live in peace and justice. Amid doubt and darkness, she lit a candle of hope, its glow to guide Moses, the hero of a nation, out of shadows, ready for the grand mission fate had ordained. Time flowed gently, and the story of the daughter of Pharaoh, a woman unnamed in history's pages, became a vivid testament to the power of compassion and unshakable faith. Picture the moment etched in memory, a small basket adrift on the Nile, a fragile life's cry echoing through a silent sky. With one gesture, one brave instant, she altered a child's fate. In that act, the Egyptian princess not only saved Moses, but sowed hope for an oppressed nation. Moses, once a tiny infant, grew in the tender embrace of a foster mother, not of his blood, but boundless in love. Her care went beyond the physical, instilling courage, lessons of justice, and unconditional devotion. As a man, Moses stepped beyond the marble grandeur of palace walls into history as the liberator of the Hebrews from slavery's chains. His journey proves a single drop of compassion can ripple into a river of justice. You might wonder, why does her act resonate so deeply? Because she dared to transcend fear, defying her father's decree, tradition, and power to heed her conscience's call. She didn't preach from a pulpit or wield a sword of justice. She simply opened her arms to a child. That's the miracle of compassion. It needs no fanfare, only sincerity and resolve. Though set in an ancient world of ritual and supreme power, this story echoes today. In our modern lives, we need no throne or crown to do good. Small acts, a comforting hug, a timely word, a helping hand, can transform a life. When you smile at a stranger or listen to someone in distress, you become the daughter of Pharaoh of your own story, kindling hope amid darkness. Faith and courage aren't reserved for the mighty. They dwell in every heart that loves and dares to act. Miracles aren't confined to scripture or legend. They unfold daily in moments you choose empathy over judgment, giving over taking. When you believe every person deserves life and respect, you light a candle of justice for humanity. Let the daughter of Pharaoh's story awaken your heart. Sometimes, in the quietest moments, your silent actions carry the loudest echo. Don't wait for grand opportunities. Every kind deed, however small, is a step toward change. Trust that miracles can sprout from the tiniest seeds, a heart that loves and believes in goodness. As we close this journey's final chapter, we carry an eternal message. Compassion is never wasted, faith never futile, and courage never lost. This ancient tale reminds all ages: dare to act, dare to love, for you are hope's bridge. When darkness surrounds, one spark of kindness can spread light. Thank you for joining this inspiring story. If it touched your heart, please subscribe and share your thoughts below. Each comment, each share builds a bridge for compassion to travel further. May you find countless blessings and strength in your own courage. Next week, we'll return with an untold story, a new journey to explore and inspire. Until then, stay blessed.